Welcome to In Her Own Name, where women stop whispering their greatness and tell the power of their own stories, with your host, Lillian Ogbogoh. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever in the world you are, and welcome to In Her Own Name. This is where women stop whispering and start owning their brilliance. I am your host. I'm Lillian Ogbogoh, and tonight I am joined by an incredible woman. Her name is Wendy Gardner, the founder of the Ohana Foundation, creator of the I Am Me coaching program, and the author of The Diary of a Misfit Penguin, and also the journal called Dear Daughter. Now, let's talk about Wendy briefly. Wendy spent years leading large-scale transformation at the highest levels of global businesses. Now, from Tesco's to other major corporations. From the outside, the picture was perfect. From the inside, something else entirely was happening. With the loss of her daughter, a teenage daughter's mental health crisis, burnout, redundancy, grief, and the long aftermath of the crisis that nobody talks about. What Wendy built from that place is now the comeback story. It's something much more honest than that. Tonight, we'll find out what it really takes to walk yourself across the bridge from surviving to living. So let's begin. Hey, Wendy.
Hi, Lillian.
How
Thank you
you
for
doing?
having me. I'm doing
Oh,
well.
you are so welcome. You are so welcome. And before we go anywhere, I want to start simply by asking, what is bringing you ease or joy today, even if it's something small?
Oh my goodness, what a great question. I've had an amazing day.
Love it.
My day started as if by magic, actually. So I went into London today and I got the train and then I got to St. Pancras and it was very quiet. And I thought, oh, you know that feeling you have when you're at school? Sometimes you used to wake up on a Saturday and get ready for school. And you're like,
Yes.
oh, it's Saturday. It was so quiet at St. Pancras. I was thinking, this is weird. Is it midnight? Am I in the right time zone? Anyway, get on my tube because I'm going to Hammersmith and I go. And I get there and I go in and the lady on reception says to me, how did you get here? And I
Yeah,
was like,
because there's a strike today.
"What?" But I said, my usual way. And so I didn't have any problems getting to my destination.
Oh,
And all
wow.
my ladies who were coming all made it. So ladies who gather to do good work together in circle, we all made it.
Nice.
Nice, eh?
That is very nice. And I can see why that will be joyful, especially the fact that you were able to get on the train on the strike day. Listen, if you don't live in London, you don't understand the struggle. The struggle is real on a day-to-day basis, more so on a strike day. I mean, we support why it's happening, but we understand the inconvenience is real.
Not for me.
Exactly. That's the best part, not for Wendy. Now, you describe yourself having worn the penguin suit of corporate conformity for
Yeah.
years. And I love that phrase because I've seen you talk about this. When did you start to feel it pinching?
Oh, gosh. That's a great question. It was really starting to feel that it was pinching when I do remember exactly. So I was driving to a board. I was called to an emergency board meeting. I was running a major program at Tesco. And I mean, heart and lung transplant change. It was massive, right? And I was dialed in, called. Now I was exhausted.
Mm.
And I'm driving down to Cheshunt because that was where head office used to be. And I was praying, please help me to be open and engaging because I feel exhausted.
Right.
Okay. And if they really challenge me, I think I might tell them that I don't want to work there anymore because I'm so tired of this. And when I walked in, something magic happened in the room. They were all sitting there. All the men were sitting in circle. And I walked in and you always got 10 minutes. So I had to put a paper down and you get 10 minutes. And my body language must have said exactly what I was thinking, because one of the directors, who was quite incredible, got the paper and turned it upside down, flat on the page. And he said, "So, Wendy, we can read this, but what can we do for you?" Which was quite remarkable, actually.
Yeah.
And I proceeded to tell them what they could do for me. But in relation to what I started to realize is I wasn't praying for success. I was actually praying to be seen and to
Mm.
be recognized for the exhaustion that I was feeling.
And that happened. And
And
that
that
is rare.
happened. And that is rare.
That is rare.
Yeah. And that's when I
And
realized it was pinching.
I can bet in all the wrong places too, because there's something that so many women who have been in your shoes recognize in what you described, because that pinching, that I have to show up even at the point of cracking and breaking. And it's the performance of being fine, the
Yes.
cost of keeping that up. That how long were you paying that cost before you actually put it down?
Oh, a long time. A long time. Yeah, I mean, I think probably a lot of my career, actually. So I was always, because I always was trying to rise to be the best. And I was one of the few women in those times. I can't believe I had the privilege of also being like one of the few women in a privileged position in
Yeah.
in work. But I think one of the things that started to really happen to me is I started to get ill a lot. So my
Mm.
nervous system was obviously, and I know that. I didn't know that at the time, right?
Yep.
But now I've become much more aware. I now know. But what was happening was I kept getting terrible bronchitis, and I kept, always having bouts of it. And it would
Right.
be for months, right? But I would still push through it, right? And then I'd end up with pneumonia,
Oh,
and
Lord.
and I'd still push through it. And I think the time when so it was happening for years, and I was very unaware. And my husband actually said to me, and he's so supportive, right? I have a very, very supportive husband who thinks I can do anything and will always support me to do that. I'm very blessed in that respect.
And we love that for you.
Oh, absolutely. He's like the wind beneath my wings. He literally will let me do, I mean, not let me, but encourage me and support me wherever I want. I've never been in a cage with him.
Nice.
Beautiful. It is very blessed. I'm very fortunate. I know that. But he said to me, "We lose you to Tesco.
Right.
You come home for Christmas or holidays and you end up really, really ill, and then we get you better and then you go back." But it's a constant pattern. And he would never say it. So I was like, oh, you go, oh. So that started to seep in.
Right.
And then I had my children. And again, I was a single mom with my daughter at the beginning before I married my husband. And I was literally nuts. I was driving 70 miles each way to work, dropping her at nursery,
Oh,
came down to 4 days, but doing 10 till 4, la, 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 all the kind of. And I remember one of the program managers saying to me, "You'd never know that you were part-time." Because I'd taken the reduction in the salary, and because
yeah.
I had integrity, I couldn't show up after later and leave early to
Yeah.
put my daughter if I wasn't being full-time. So there was lots of indications. But one of the biggest moments in my life came when I think when my son, he was only a little tiny chap. He must have been, I don't know, maybe 5, coming for 6. And I remember him coming in with a birthday invitation in his hand.
Right.
And he goes, "Oh, mummy, I have a birthday party." And I said, "Oh, great, I'll take you." He said, "No, no, no, it's okay. Daddy will take me." I got really jealous, I have to say. I was like, oh, it really hit my heart.
Mm.
I thought, oh my goodness, he doesn't. even realize that I'm here and he like I want to do that and he needs me. He always would just default to daddy.
Right.
I thought this can't be. This can't be. And I ended up after taking a year out and deciding that I was going to reconnect with my son. And it was the best year of my life because I have the most amazing relationship with my son. And
Nice.
we used to just go, and it's in my book actually, it's a chapter, but we used to just go for ice cream after school because my daughter was at a middle school. So it was, and we used to go to the swing park and we'd have ice cream and we'd just connect and play on the swings. And mommy would be like very relaxed and very me.
Mm.
And it was just delightful, the best investment that I've ever made. However, by Christmas, this was the summer, I got really bored and then went back into the jungle again of the machine. But that was really beautiful that I took that moment and it was him,
Mm.
actually. The thought of losing him and the thought of not having his love and him wanting and needing me in his life really brought a big into my heart.
Yeah. I mean, you said he was between 5 and 6, and the fact that he already at that point realized dad will do it, mom won't. And I think that was the message you needed
Oh,
in that
yeah.
time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. As I say now, like him and I get on so well. He's like, we have a great relationship. And it was that investment of the time
Mm.
that I gave. And it was, yeah, the best thing I've ever done actually in my life at that point. But then I went back in again. So, I was still a glutton for punishment.
Well, most of us are in the penguin suit and we're trying to fit in and going back because it's like a toxic relationship.
It is. And it definitely is, because then what would be happening is I'd be in my penguin suit because I was conforming. I was like trying to fit in and belong and get recognized and not. But then, of course, I'd always be challenging the status quo, right? And then so that was when I used to think my pink feathers would be flying out from underneath the suit. And I'd be trying to stuff them back in because then I'd get all the criticisms, that you're too this, you're too that, you're too the next thing. Bless
Yeah.
the people that I was working with. But that's what they would say, right? And so I was always performing. I was always trying to fit in and belong.
Mm.
And so this suit became quite restrictive, actually, because I wasn't really truly aware of who I was. I was a great performer and I got awards for it and I got promoted. And I'm not saying that I didn't do well because I did do well within
Right.
the constraints of it, but I did lose a sense of who I was.
I get that. And for those of you, I've actually seen Wendy talk in real life. She spoke at one of the Women Who Earn events that happened, and just seeing her in person is, I would say, if you get the opportunity, do it, because there is something really magical about seeing her give a talk in person. And as a speaker myself, yeah, I'll save the fangirl section. But the reason why I'm saying this, and I want to bring back, because you brought out something when you talk about this penguin suit and the fact that your feathers are flying out, the pink feathers are sneaking out, and that whole sense of belonging, that whole sense of trying to fit in. And what damage does that constant fight to fit in, that constant fight to try to be someone you are not? What is the honest to God damage that it does to women? Not just women, but even everyone.
Even men, I would say, but
Mm.
woman, we can talk for woman. Disconnection,
Mm.
blindness almost. You become quite, and resilience is an interesting word for me because I think I see it's quite a negative word for me because,
Oh, I fell out of love with resilience.
yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
get me started. Don't get me started on resilience. And I feel so bad because I used to be the one that would do resilience classes and all of those things. But now resilience is a dirty word because I have this image of, okay, those who know me know I'm a big anime fan and there's always some kind of battle going on. I feel like the medical team in an anime battle scene where I'm patching up these people and go, bye, go back out there.
And
That's
that's
what,
it.
yeah.
I agree. Totally beautiful. That's a beautiful visual I have for that, because I agree. That's exactly what it was.
Such
And
a
I think
dirty
that's
word.
great. And that's why I have an allergic reaction to that word now.
Yeah. I mean, we patch women up. We
Yeah.
go, okay, we'll give you tools, we'll give you coping mechanism. Okay, so this is how you coach, and these are the words you use. Go back into the environment that is literally eating you from the inside out.
Yeah. And then when you try to make a change, oh, you're too aggressive, or you're too vocal, or you're too much, or you're always too something, right?
Oh yeah, you're either too much, too little. I mean, the worst part is when you're too much and not enough at the same time, and you're like,
Oh,
okay, I need you to choose one. I can't do both struggles.
oh yeah.
Tell me which one I'm not today, because
Oh, I used to get, oh, when you came to your annual reviews, I used to get, well, it's a year of two halves, Wendy, you know, when they're trying to shortchange you on stuff, right? It's
mm,
like the first half, which is always loaded anyway, as you well know, in the corporate world, as in loaded financially, because just like,
yep,
blah, blah, blah. I mean, the first half, it wasn't great, but the second half, yeah, you did it. And you're thinking, wow, I've done everything that was asked of me, but yeah, I'm still
it's still not enough.
not enough. Yeah.
It's interesting, and this is not to bash the corporate world because
No.
corporate is needed, but how corporate is done needs to change.
Yeah.
And you talk about the myth of this bulletproof leader, which I think is something that needs to be inspected. And my question for you is, what's the moment that cracked that myth open for you? Or was it a slow unraveling of this idea of this bulletproof leader not being so bulletproof?
Well, I mean, I did start questioning, but then the most traumatic thing, well, I realized when I wrote the book, there were so many traumas, but actually I had managed to disguise and mask a lot of those. But the biggest one was when my daughter got severely ill with her mental health. So she became severely depressed, huge anxiety when
Right.
she was 16. And that was the most terrifying. No parent should ever have to go through, because she made serious attempts to end her own life. But that was when I truly was on the bones of my backside, because I was brought up and taught to be a fixer and a solutioner. And I was
Right.
really good at that, right? Because, of course, I had mastered myself during the world that I was working in the machine, as I like to refer to it. But actually, I couldn't fix her, and I couldn't throw money at her, and I couldn't throw a tea. I just couldn't fix her.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh my, what am I going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do. How are we going to survive this? How are we going to get through this? What really and truly, I was terrified.
Right.
Look, there was a number of events, but sitting in the therapy room with her and listening to her say that she didn't feel enough, she didn't feel beautiful, she didn't belong. And then also that she couldn't promise me that she wouldn't thrive again. To hear those words was quite shocking, because, of course, you just want to fix, but you can't, right?
Yeah.
And during that time, I was thinking, oh my God, these sound so familiar, that I'm very good at disguising and masking. Because I'd get up every day, I put the resilience, like that beautiful analogy you make, I go back out there when the face is on and I'm patched up.
Yes.
And I thought that I was doing such a great job at masking that. But what I discovered was that she had been watching and observing me like a hawk, actually. She might not listen to my words, but she watches all my behaviors.
Yes.
And I thought, oh my goodness, I can't love this girl anymore, because I adore her. But I must learn to love me, because how can she be who she cannot see?
Yeah.
And it was really profound, it felt like those words, I don't know where they came from, but they came to me. And it was almost like there was some kind of inner wisdom within me that came out at that point. And that's when the beginning of the end of the penguin, if you know what I mean. It's like it really started, because now I was very fortunate and very blessed, because I was in the world of corporate and I was at a good senior level. So I had access to everybody and everything.
Yes.
And I was very fortunate. And I took access to everything and everybody and everything. And I was really supported, actually, from that perspective. But I didn't know how to love myself. I had no clue. I didn't know where to start. I thought there was 3 emotions. I didn't realize there was like about 500 emotions, right?
Mm.
I really didn't. I thought I was so disconnected from who I was emotionally. And that's what I would describe. I was like a machine, I just
Right.
kept going. And I embarked on the journey, and it became then this parallel journey of supporting her as well as discovering me. And I thrived whilst holding this beautiful daughter of mine, who is the love of my life, in my heart and in my bones. She was still on her journey. I started to respect and understand that this was her journey and I couldn't
Right.
fix her, and neither should I try, but I should support and be there and, fix me, actually. And this is what we did. We went on this parallel journey together. And I even got promoted. I mean, there was loads of beautiful things happening whilst we were still in this trauma. So the thing that I was discovering was life is that kind of paradox. You can actually, we're so amazing as humans, actually, that we can live with a trauma and still find joy.
Yes.
It was kind of like, wow, oh, I'm a human. I think what I did was I discovered I was a human. I wasn't superhuman. I wasn't a superpower. I was actually
Right.
a human being. Yeah. And it was really interesting. So I went on my journey, and that's when I really truly discovered that I was and it's a metaphor, obviously, that I use for my life, but I became my fully fledged flamingo. And I dropped the penguin suit. And I was now started to become very comfortable in my own skin, very comfortable to be vulnerable with my children as well, be that human, because
Yes.
we have this perception. I don't know if everybody does, but I certainly did, that you have to be perfect. Yeah, perfect mother, perfect everything, right?
Oh, yeah.
And your mother should know best. I should know everything. I have the answers to everything. You know,
Yes. What are
I
you saying? You're not the fountain of all knowledge?
Who knew that was the case? Thank goodness I'm not. But when you suddenly become real,
Yeah.
actually, about who you are, and that, you know what, you have not got all the answers and
Mm.
you are flawed. And yes, I had to learn what invalidating feelings meant, because I was invalidating my daughter's feelings because I was trying to protect her too much. So not allowing her to regulate her own feelings,
Right.
which I didn't even know what that was, right? Because, of course, I was always solutioning, remember? Then it was really beautiful to be able to, and refreshing to be able to say, when I had invalidated her feelings, because I still do, right? Because I'm a human, there's times when
Yes.
I actually can say to her, I think I've invalidated your feelings. Because you get a feeling inside. I might not know what I did exactly. And she'd go, yes, you have, Mama. And I go, I'm really sorry. I'm still learning. Can we talk about it? And that, being able to be like that with my children, have brought them closer to me. And actually, they're my teachers. I see them as my teachers.
Right.
They've been great, wise young beings, actually. Yeah, although, they drive me crazy sometimes. I am still a human, right? But it's really beautiful to be able to be imperfect.
And that gives you room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when you're imperfect and openly own that, it gives you room and it gives them room to go, I can be imperfect.
Yeah.
It dials down the expectations.
Yeah. And this hopes and dreams, because again, I had these hopes and dreams. And I discovered they were my hopes and dreams for them, not their hopes and dreams. And I was putting all my hopes and dreams over them and my expectations of all my failed stuff, right?
Yes.
Because they're my children. But actually, what I discovered was, and it was actually my husband who, I don't know about people listening to this, but I was so fast and so successful and so in the machine that sometimes I actually would just kind of go, he's a bit more reflective and a bit more considered than I was. And sometimes I'm just like, oh, it's not quick enough. I'll just move on, and not all would take him like respect for him,
Right.
which I think is a terrible thing, but the truth. And I remember sitting and saying, because Mariana, my daughter, wouldn't go to university because she wasn't well enough. And I was devastated because all her friends, even though she had been ill, and I'm glad she was alive, all her friends were going off to university. And I was devastated. And my husband sat me down and said, Wendy, we must not live our hopes and dreams through our children.
Mm.
He said, our daughter is alive, she's functioning, she's actually driving. And he has a daughter from a first marriage who is disabled. And he said, when I used to go to the school that his first daughter was at, he said there were some children there who would be non-verbal, non-communicative, and would lie there and not be able to show any emotion or anything. And the love that their parents would have for those children, and yet they got nothing back.
Right.
And you're receiving things back from my daughter. And I thought, wow, that's really profound. And I started to really then reevaluate. That was my hopes and dreams. She's going to find her way and her path, and however she's meant to be, I need to support that
Yes.
and love her regardless of whatever my impressions. So it's really interesting how you learn through this journey of being a very much a human, having a human experience and allowing yourself to do that, but coming from love.
And that love then reflects back and it reflects
Mhm.
around those who are around you. And
Mm.
it's like you said, it's a journey.
Mm.
And I want to move that journey on because that journey led you to the Ohana Foundation. And that name carries a deeply personal for you. Can you
Yes.
share that?
Yes.
Can you share that with us?
Yes, I certainly can. Thank you for asking. So Ohana is the Hawaiian for everybody's included, nobody's excluded, and family. So it's a
Yes.
Hawaiian term and a Hawaiian meaning. And
Yes.
the organization that I've discovered myself as a Flamingo, who supported me with all of that, they introduced me to that as a concept. And so there was an honor of that. But then also my first daughter who died, she was born sleeping. Her name was Hannah.
Right.
And so it was very appropriate that if I was setting up a foundation, then Ohana would be the name. And I was so surprised that when I made that decision, that it was there and available.
And that was meant to be.
Exactly. And yeah, that was the energy and the whole essence. Because the reason I decided that I had to give this to the world, what I'm doing, what I had learned, what I was remembering, what I was
Mm.
expanding into, was because whilst we were at CAMS, I got some really shocking information that a lot of parents can't even have time off to go and take their children to therapy, like time off their work. And I was like, wow, I manage my own diary. I do what I pretty much I do what I want,
Yeah.
in terms of within reason.
Yes.
And I thought, wow. And then they said, oh, but a lot of people don't even have access to help. And I was like,
This is
what?
true.
And I was quite, because I've been very privileged. And I really honor that privilege that I have been in. But I thought, wow, what I've been learning, and no disrespect to professionals, but a lot of what I'd been learning, I thought I can teach this to people and share this with people. And I want women and girls to really be able to do this for themselves. And I want them to really, I want to ignite them. I want to
Yes.
ignite over 9.9 million women in 33 countries. I want them to ignite, to feel safe, to love themselves courageously. Yeah. And that's what I want to do. And that's what I am doing.
And you were doing it quite well. And that is a very big thing that you're doing, because the whole concept of having women learn to love themselves courageously, authentically, deeply in itself serves so much, so much. And the Ohana Foundation, the I Am Me, and with the work that you do, you serve women across a large range of experience: corporate burnout, domestic abuse, redundancy, relationship breakdowns. What is the thread that connects every woman that comes to you, regardless of where she's been?
Mm. That she has said, no more. What
Mm,
next? What next? I I don't know. I've been through the major crisis. I've been through, and I don't know what next. Where do I
right.
go? I take them across. I always, this is my little metaphor. I take them across a bridge. I shepherd them across the bridge to their chosen identity of who they truly are choosing to be.
I love that.
And I see myself as a shepherdess. So I keeps me very grounded in who I am. And it's not a pyramid, it's a circle, and
Mm.
we walk together. And therefore we have such connection, and it's a mutual beneficial relationship. Oh my goodness, I'm tingling as I'm talking to you.
It sounds beautiful. And I think more women need to experience that.
Yes. Yes. And I am having some of the most beautiful experiences with amazing women that are, it's just remarkable. Remarkable.
I can see that. You know, we keep talking about things like burnout. We talk about all the different words. And I think burnout is one of the ones that the last few years has been on everyone's lips.
Mm.
What is the common misconception on how burnout shows up, and what do people actually miss?
They miss it completely, actually, until they're completely in a hospital bed. So they actually miss it on the way, to be
Yeah.
honest, with the burnout. Which should be prevention, right?
Yes.
And there's nowhere in the world of work or life at home where there is because it's not a visible thing. So we're not sharing, we're not communicating, we're like stick up a lip. We're still like, let's get on with it. Like I've heard of women who have had miscarriages and then carried on making the dinner for their family. And you think, where is the self-care and the self-love that you
Mm,
need? And what's your needs?
yeah.
I think
And
I think we misconceive our needs, actually. I don't think we know what we need.
n- and this is true. And then you've also named something, because it's there's a privilege that you and I have to be in a position to say, okay, we can recognize some of these things.
Mm,
Some of these women don't have that privilege.
no.
They don't have that privilege to stop. They've gone through a miscarriage. They have to carry on because their mouths to be fed. or there's something else. And so you said something about the burnout that it's missed and it's not physical. Sometimes I think the way I look at it is that burnout happens. It starts as a little voice in the background.
Mm,
It then starts as a very long whisper.
mm.
And then it goes on to a full on scream. And the full on scream is when your body starts to break down.
Yeah.
And so they are signs, but because women, we have been taught to keep calm, carry on. Oh, you're at the doctor's, you have this symptoms. Well, it's probably your cycle,
Yeah.
or it's
Yeah.
take a painkiller, or it can't possibly be that bad, as the woman is literally bleeding out consistently. Her body is showing up. So the medical community downplays it. When we look at the world, it's changing now, but for a very long time, it's like, oh, well, you just get on. And so burnout does leave those fingerprints till it's now becomes lifelong bruises.
Yeah. And the thing is that it gets to crisis point, and this is why in my work, and I work with women who are survivors of domestic abuse, and that's where a lot of my lessons are being, oh
Mm,
sorry, my coach says not to call them lessons because that's less. A lot of my expansions and my remembering is coming from that community.
right.
They are wonderful, and they've taught me to slow down.
Okay.
Yeah, because, and also they are so generous with their feedback and with their participation. And oh, it's just amazing. But what I find is that we do work around truth values, which is really, really important to really truly understand what matters to you. And what we recognize, and I recognize it for myself and from other women, but this particular community have helped me to frame it for other women, actually, which is amazing, is that we don't often sit and truly listen to what matters to
Mm,
ourselves. We don't trust that either. And we don't give ourselves permission
yes.
to do that. We are brought up to be carers, whether we've been brought up by our parents, but we've certainly inherited that from society to be carers. And therefore, we always care for other people first
First.
before
Yes.
ourselves, right? And it doesn't have to be huge, big gestures to care for yourself, right?
Yes.
And I think that's the other thing in the machine and in the system that we're currently in. Everything is got to be big and bold,
Oh
and
yeah. I
hard.
mean, social media, self-care looks like that fantastic trip, the
Yeah,
bathtub full of roses. Now, don't
yeah,
let me not lie. I have done bathtub full of
of
roses
course.
because it's my thing. Not that it should be everybody's thing if it's not. And the thing is, self-care doesn't have to look like a bathtub full of roses. Self-care could be simply, I'm not talking to anybody today.
Yes, yes.
Self-care could be simply, you know what? I'm going to sit here and drink my favorite cup of whatever it is. Please give me 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes to drink that uninterrupted.
And I'm going to be intentional with that. And I'm going to savor every moment of I'm having it in a nice cup and it really tastes delicious.
Yes.
And then after you finish that, you are like so good because you've given yourself an experience with that. And that's as simple or as difficult because we don't do it, it always seems like a massive thing. But
Exactly.
this is the thing I'm teaching and working with women, that it doesn't have to be massive,
Complicated. Yeah. Tiny
complicated.
gestures. But if you can't buy yourself, and I'm guilty of this because I say I'll do it and I forget, but then I have plans. So that's my trade off. If you can't buy yourself a whole bouquet of flowers, buy yourself, go to an actual florist, and ask for 3 stems of your favorite flower.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be grand gestures. And I think that's the thing that with the social media and everything, and then the movies and things that you will see is that giant grand gestures mean more. But sometimes for us, for self care, it can be I'm going to take a nap.
Yes.
I'm going to lay
And
on
it's
the floor.
work. And you know what? This is the thing. One of my ladies comes in and I use oils like rose oil. And she says, "Oh, I no longer wear perfume on a Thursday because I love the smell of this." And she's like, "Oh, it's so beautiful." But again, it's like that embodying of that beautiful smell and the oil.
Mm,
And I'm just like, wow, that's a simple thing. But
yes.
yet, and I think that's the thing, we must stop consuming all of the falseness that's going on out there
Oh, yeah.
and really start to look at what's my need?
Yes. What
What
does
do
that
I
look like
need
for me?
today?
Yeah.
What does that look like for me? Because it's different for all of us, okay? And that's okay too. That, in fact, that's great. But it's okay to be gentle and silent and simple with yourself. And that's what yeah. And the miracles of things around you that you don't even, when you're busy in the machine, you never watch and see because you're just too busy and you're always buying yourself stuff to try and be happy and blah, 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 blah. So you consume. But even like now when I'm working in this office here and I'm in the garden and I've got plants. I've never had plants that I've nurtured. And I'm so in love with I even had to run to Dunelm the other day to buy it an umbrella because I was worried that it was going to get scorched in the sun. But I was like, this plant was like, they're so precious to me because I'm so willing them to thrive and survive. And I'm like, wow, this is new for me, but actually I'm really enjoying the process. And it's just that, it's all around us. It's like, and I know it sounds a bit weird, but it's not. It's there, you know?
Yes.
It's there.
You're talking to someone who have plants. I have plants. I had to deadhead one of my plants recently, so I know.
Yeah, I'm like a plant mummy now. Loving
I love that. But it's that, like you said, we need to find what works for us.
our
And it,
needs
yes. And you mentioned that truth value, going back to what is the truth for me?
for
And
me.
it takes that work to actually go, okay, that may be something I do, but it's not the truth of me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. You have a line in your bio that I had to reread a couple of times. And you go, when you make a move, whatever that looks like, you make it from wholeness, not depletion. And that is the difference. Where did that truth come for you?
Great. Mm. Come from wholeness and not depletion. Well, I think it has to be, for me, it was all through the trauma that
Mm.
and we still are living with somebody who's managing her mental health. And she's been so good for quite a while, but a few months ago, she had a real dip. And she actually, for the first time in her life, which was amazing, asked for help. And that's what I mean is I've always helped, but she's asked for help.
Mm.
Real difference. Okay. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's amazing. Because that's when she's starting to care for her mental health and manage it. So I was like, okay. And she reassured me that she didn't have a plan. So that's amazing. And she asked if she could go to a retreat. So then, of course, I got into solution mode because, of course, I'm like, wow. Now I had to stop myself and come all the way back to stop not solution. But I cared for her. But the reason I realized that I was able to regulate my own body and nervous system whilst holding her.
Mhm.
And that was massive for me because I was not in depletion.
Right.
Although I was emotional at times and I was terrified, because I've started to, really understand myself and my body and how to care for my needs and my body, I didn't neglect that
Right.
whilst my daughter was in trauma. And it was really interesting to hold that because that was my first time. I suppose it was like a graduation almost, to this, that I was able to hold her and hold me
Right.
at the same time. And that was quite insightful of how much I'd grown, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that I can see that makes the difference because there's no way you could have held her in the way that she required if you were still depleted.
Absolutely. And also honoring her
Mm.
that she was working that too. It's really interesting being respectful of somebody who's also learning
Yes,
and
and
not trying
navigating
to impress
their
you,
journey.
you know. Yeah, it was quite a beautiful moment of, so thank you for asking that question because I think it was lovely to really think about that.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Now, on the show, we talk about reclamation. We talk about reclamation of voice, of space, and identity. And I know your whole story going from penguin to flamingo already speaks to that. But would you say along this journey of transformation, along this journey of casting off the penguin suit, there was that pivotal moment where you realized that you had stepped into your own name and had stopped
Mm.
shrinking?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's still a bit of a journey in terms of my own voice because, of course, I was quite scared of my own identity and
Mhm.
voice, actually. And I'm still, but yes, only just lately, believe it or not. So, because one, the book was amazing because it's my truth.
Yes.
Mask was completely off. So that was a massive declaration to myself and the world that I am me. Right? But I tell you, I did a lot of healing. I've been doing a lot of healing on myself and my own self. And I did some healing about a month ago. And when I went on a retreat and I was there, and when I arrived, it was different. I was with 10 other women and and I didn't know them, but I felt love.
Mm.
So I felt safe. And it's really interesting. I had never noticed that. So it was something I really noticed. Anyway, we did a lot of like healing in terms of who I am and all my kind of wounds and blah, blah, blah. And I really faced a lot of what I needed to face because I felt loved and safe to do so. Okay. And I mean, it was massive for me.
Yeah.
And I came typically when after you do a lot of healing on yourself, you kind of have to be very gentle with yourself to the following week because of course you've had a big, reveal or whatever. Anyway, I felt very energized.
Nice.
I know. And I was like, wow, I feel wonderful. Because as if a weight had really been lifted.
Mm.
And I ended up, in fact, I was in London with you. I'd met you. I went to London and I was doing all sorts of things that week. And then on the Thursday of the week, so this was like the weekend. Yeah, I finished on the Sunday, went on the Thursday that week. I was in London working and I was on the train and I opened my email and it said, can you send us your media packet and da 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 for I am Wendy Gardner. Now, I have never ever said publicly like that, I am
Yes.
Wendy Gardner. We know the I am is a very powerful energy, right?
Yes.
And it was Medicine Festival.
Ooh.
And I remember I'd applied last October, but I just thought it was gone. It was because I'd bought my tickets. I had bought my tickets to go as a participant, as in like,
Right.
yeah. And where did they say I could go? Where did they confirm me? I don't remember seeing that. And I looked in my emails, and on the Tuesday of that week, they had confirmed me.
Oh, wow.
And so there was two very significant things. One was I am Wendy Gardner,
Yes.
played straight back to me. So that was a declaration that I was out, so to speak. And two, that because I had faced me and my stuff and all of my kind of things I needed to work on about me, I got the reward of my biggest stage to date.
Beautiful. I love that.
Mm,
I
really
love that.
special. Really special. Like it was always there, but I was restricting myself. That's where it felt
Yes.
like. It was like it was already there, but because I hadn't quite done, I didn't leap to it didn't come to me. But then because I did, it was there. And it was just really quite wow. Yeah, that was
Yeah. That is beautiful. And that's the alignment of things.
yeah, yeah. And remember, my program's called I Am Me.
Yes.
So it was really profound. You know, that like the universe and all the alignment came to me as the there you go. You
Yep.
have said
Full
you are me.
circle.
You have said that you are Wendy Gardner, and you are. And it's now been played straight back
Confirmed.
at you. I
Yes.
just thought it was so significant for me.
That's beautiful. And then looking at your journey so far, what would you whisper to your 18-year-old self?
Oh, lovely. So you know this, but maybe not all the listeners do. But I came to London from Glasgow. I was a little lassie from Glasgow when I was 21. Actually, I came down on the train with a suitcase and a carrier bag. And if I was to look at her now, I would say, we've got this.
Mm,
We did it. We expanded and we found who we are.
I like that.
Yeah,
I
we
like
are.
that.
We we are. I am Wendy Gardner.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Mm.
I love that. There, there's something about when you find yourself and see yourself. There's something so liberating and beautiful. And like you said, when you find that place and lead from that place, it
Mm.
changes how the world even responds to you.
Mm. Yeah. Yes, very
Yeah.
much.
And I think that's something that we have to be honoring of your entire journey because look at how far you've come to this version of you right now.
Mm.
And I guess it's going to lead to this question because there's something about the work that you do, there's something about the beauty of the work, but also the deep dives that you have to do, the going into the space. How do you how do you make the space safe enough that your clients can tell their own stories without
Mm.
fear, without hesitation? How do you create that space that is safe for them to do so?
That's a lovely question because that's been something that I've been given access to actually lately because and I think there's a couple of things for me is that it's not a pyramid.
Mm,
We're sitting in a circle. So I am not above, I'm not below,
Yes.
we're together. And so when we start on the journey together, we're together.
Yes.
Um, I think my presence, as well as doing the work, and we're doing the work, I'm also quite playful with it. It's like I always say, let's get our pink back, ladies. But I'm kind of like a bit playful and a bit fun. And it's kind of like very relaxing, and
Yeah.
also I will share that I'm a couple of steps ahead on the bridge, and I'll share that, yeah, I'm still a human. And so I'm I'm very down to earth in
Yes.
the sessions. But I use a lot of breath work and a lot of EFT. So I use like a lot of somatic work. So I mix it all up, with the arc that I take them on. But what I've discovered about me, which I didn't know, right? This is a new reveal that I've been trying to rehearse and plan, right? Because that's how I've always been trained. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been like 30 odd years in the system being perfect, right? So I'll plan the whole session. And then I can't remember a frigging thing. And I've written it, right? And I thought it was menopause having a right laugh with me, saying, well, you're now in menopause. So it's now time for you to go to your intuition and not your bloody memories, right? So that was one of my theories, right?
Right.
Because it made me feel better. Because I was like, I can always say that in the room because a lot of women would get it. But then, secondly, what happened was, because I was reflecting on this, and when I show up and put the plan to one side and be truly present in that room, I'm there for the people, not for me, not for the performance.
Mm.
And real magic comes into the room because people, I seem to be able to really connect into somebody quite deeply. And I don't know how I'm doing that, but the kind of what's happening is I will say some things that are my experiences, by the way, and things I know. But guess what? I don't feel at the minute. People come up to me afterwards and go, I just needed to hear that today. And it wasn't in the script and it wasn't in the plan. So it's almost like because I'm trusting my journey and I'm trusting what I know and I'm trusting that I'm showing up to the right rooms with the right people, with the right intention.
Yes.
I'm there for them. Yeah,
I
it's
love that.
really interesting, actually. And this is a new reveal for me of that trusting, you know, trusting that you know.
Yes. And that is a powerful place to be in because that cannot be replaced, that cannot be faked, that cannot. It is something so, so beautiful. And I
And that's
think,
so just to interrupt, sorry, my
no,
darling. But when you said at the beginning that being in the room because you were in a room is really special with me,
yes,
and that's what I've started to realize is that when I don't perform, as in I'm not rehearsing, it is special because whatever's meant for you in the room is
lives in the room.
lives in the room.
Yeah. And yeah, I have to agree because you gave that room exactly what they needed.
And it was
You gave
beautiful.
everyone exactly what they needed. And
And
I
I felt
cannot, yeah,
and I felt and they felt that and they connected the and it was the sheer connection of all of us in that room. There was a real love for each other in the room.
yes,
And I know we've read these things when they say, oh, when women meet, like transformation happens and change happens. But I'm experiencing very beautiful things because I used to be afraid of women. That's another story for another bloody day, right? But now it's really quite beautiful.
yes.
Yeah.
I think I laughed when you said that. Not to take from that is I recognize what that feels like. And a lot of women are have been in that place because of, again, expectations, stories. And then when you find yourself in that place, you're like, wait, this is the place I've been afraid to come to?
Yes. Under the feet. And that's a beautiful way to describe it. It's really true. It's like, oh, this is what it looks like and feels like.
Exactly. It's like, oh, this is the place I've
Oh,
been afraid of coming to.
kind of
Great.
Chris vibe
These are
here.
my people.
Yeah. Yes.
Wendy, I cannot thank you enough for being on the show, and I will have you back any day of the week. And it has been a sheer pleasure and delight. And before you go, I have two more questions. Well, okay, I might pull a Columbo and pull one more. The first question is, what are the two truths that you can share that will help a woman lead and be as their most authentic, unapologetic self?
I think there's two things. One is in the morning, looking in the mirror without your makeup or anything, just as soon as you get up, or a reflection in the window and say, how can I love myself even more right now?
Mm,
Right now. In those that way, because it's neuroscience, so your brain
yeah.
won't fight you. And then the second thing is gratitude. Now we are all frequencies. We are frequency. And the simplest thing that I found in my life is if I wake up in the morning and I just say, I'm so grateful that I slept well, then things start to move because I'm starting to invite in the frequency of that. And it doesn't have to be massive. And I do it before I go to sleep as well, so that I dream well.
Right.
And if somebody at work is really cheesing you off or you've got a problem, I usually write gratitude about the person. So I do that a lot about my daughter because there are days because she knows how to press my buttons as you do.
Yes. Yep.
What,
Double tap.
what I do is instead of meeting that energy, I will write 10 things that I'm grateful for. And I probably have to go back to when she's a baby at that point because I'm still in my human. But I write, and what it does is if I write 10 things, it really brings me into that beautiful frequency. And so then I meet her with a different
Energy.
energy as opposed to fight or flight or arguing, right?
Yeah.
And I just say gratitude. So even for a leader, you've got a situation with a team member, just sit and write like that about them and really find it. And it could be the fact that you like to color their shoes. It doesn't have to be massive either.
Mm.
It's like simple things. And I think, yeah, gratitude.
Okay. So the moment you wake up, you ask your brain the question, how can I love myself
Even more
more in
now.
right now? I love that question. I'm gonna do that question tomorrow.
I do it every morning.
I'm
And it
gonna
could be
do
the
that
fact
question.
you're up, right? It could be the fact you're going to the shower. It could be the fact you're brushing your teeth.
Yes.
I ask myself every morning, and I look at myself because I'm not done up, I'm not dressed, and my hair is like, bedhead. But it really is me acknowledging me.
Yeah. And I think that's, people will underestimate that process.
Yes, and they'll
So
hate it. And by the way, they
oh
won't be able
yeah.
to do it because I know so many of my clients who will go, I can't do that. And it's to your private self. I mean, how that just shows you the work needs to be done, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
we cannot to ourselves in private with the door closed in toilet, looking at a mirror or looking at the reflection in the window and say, how can I love myself even more right now?
Mm,
Then you need the work, right?
exactly. Exactly. And speaking of needing the work, how can people find you?
So people can find me on LinkedIn. They can find me on on Instagram. They can find me. I have ohanafoundation.com. Yeah, reach out to me. I would love to work with women who want to walk across the bridge.
Mm.
True.
And they can also find you on Amazon because your book
Can.
lives on
Yes.
Amazon. Let's
Well,
not
no,
forget that.
but it lives in all good book online bookstores actually, but Amazon being obviously the notable one. But yeah, it does.
Yep. And would the book also live on your website?
It does.
Okay. So
Does.
guys, we'll be putting Wendy's website, Jeff Bezos, you have enough money. So we will be sending them to Wendy Gardner's website. And so we will send them there to get the book as well. If you want to also try other places, I do know that you can get the journal Dear Daughter on World of Books as well. So I'll put the link for that. I'll put all your links in there.
You can get them, as I say, they're everywhere. But the book is really special. It's a really
Yes.
special read. The feedback I'm receiving is extraordinary from the book. And the book is part memoir, part research, actually. There's some real kind of like, oh my goodness, who knew that was a thing? And then there's a little bit of help of how to. Yeah. And it's really beautiful. It's got lots of illustrations, intentionally so, lots of penguins and lots of flamingos, so that we know there's light. And in fact, what I want you all to know, and I'm so proud of this, is that Barnes and Noble, who are the big American, like they're almost as big as Kindle, right? For
Yes.
selling books in America. They don't put color on their equivalent of Kindle, and they're massive, right? And so I had the question asked to me because they sell my book. Are you going to make it black and white so we can put it on our online, whatever their Kindle? And I said,
Yeah.
no, I will not disrupt the integrity of the book.
Mm.
Those illustrations are intentional to show you that there is light. There's always, this too shall pass, I think is the saying that people use. And it's so true because I am living proof of that. And so thank you.
Oh, we love that. We love that. And here's my Columbo question. To close us out, what does living, not just surviving, actually feel like for you right now in this moment?
Mm. Do you know, I get up in the morning and I do my work on me. Right. So I don't always meditate, but I will do some journaling. I will do some discovery around my beliefs. Because you know what? We have got pesky beliefs that we need
Oh,
to
yeah.
work on. I'll go out to my garden. I'll water my plant babies that are growing very well. Have a coffee, then I'll have some breakfast. And you know what I'm doing, which is really different, is I'm really looking at my nutrition of what I'm putting into my body
Mm.
because I never really paid attention. I always used to criticize my body. And what I've realized is that this is my vessel. And so therefore I want to really look after it. And so I'm following, a really healthy way of eating, not restrictive, by the way, but healthy.
Right.
So I'm aware. So I do that. I make sure I'm having a good breakfast and just being, really doing things that bring me joy. I'll tell you what's amazing is my office is in the garden, and I literally
Nice.
can go and lie in my garden, and that could be my work for the day. Because guess what? I'll have a download of a new program that we're going to do because that's how I do it now.
I love that.
And
I love that.
we're so different. I used to feel guilty about doing things like that, but now I'm like, that's what I do. That's what I do. I create differently now. And yeah, it's been really interesting for me to let that go, let the old ways go. And they're still there, right? They still come up. But I'm very quick and aware now. Yeah, that's
That's
what I do.
beautiful.
Yeah. So don't ever think that the work's ever done because you think, oh, yeah, oh my goodness, that whole thing again? Do you mean I've got to really look at it's like an onion, but you can take
Yeah, the layers.
the layers. But the beauty is when you decide to work on yourself and understand who you are and all your beliefs and all the stuff that come into this beautiful human existence, is it gets easier because you
Yeah.
get quicker at finding it, right? So it's quite yeah, it's never ending, but it's really beautiful. And I'm really fortunate that I can choose. I have choice. I mean, we've all got choice, but I really am very blessed, I believe. And then I have wonderful people I meet, like you, like Bruna, like my clients. And I feel, yeah, my heart is very bursting because I have great experiences. Yeah, thank you to all of you.
Oh, you're so welcome. And I have to say, thank you for being a guest on the show. It has been an absolute delight and a blast. And I'll put all your links there so people can connect with you. It's been so awesome getting you on the show. And thank you. Thank you again.
I've had the best time, as I knew I would, because you're amazing, and I truly love you.
Oh,
But
thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Guys, I'm going to wrap up the show. It's a whole wrap. And I want to say thank you for being here, listening. And for those of you who are catching it on socials and everything, go and check out Wendy's show. If you want to be on the show, you know what to do. Drop me a DM on LinkedIn or Instagram. Tell me why you want to be on the show. Let's talk. Let's get you as guest. And most importantly, if you've missed any of the episodes, go get them. They're on all the places you get your good podcast from. And if you have friends who you know this episode will tickle their funny bone and need to hear it, don't be selfish. Don't keep this episode to yourself. Share it with your people because they need to hear it. They need to experience the joy that is Wendy. So, with that, I'm going to go and have some behind the scenes conversations with my incredible guests. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for being on the show again. Good night, guys.
Thanks for listening to In Her Own Name. Step into your week lit up, aligned, and fully you. If you are enjoying this podcast, share it with your people. Don't let them miss out. And connect with us on all places social.